All right, we're back. Cohen here from KindleCashFlow.com. We're gearing up for Kindle Cashflow Live Virtual, and as a result of that, we've got another great guest. We've got Michael Lopez. Michael is actually someone that I got a chance to talk to, and we go back and forth on Facebook Messenger every once in a while, and then he actually joined the Kindle Cashflow team. And as I've gotten a chance to talk to you more and more, Mike, man, I just really love who you are as an individual, like your vibe, your spirit. You're always in the group helping out. You're answering questions. You're asking questions, which I think is just as important as answering questions. So tonight we have with us Michael Lopez. We're going to talk about Kindle publishing and how Michael has actually taken his business from zero to like 9,500 and something, just shy of $10,000 a month right now. And his goal is, I was just talking to him behind the scenes. He's like, Ty, as we're on this call, as we're doing this, I hope I hit like 10,000, which would be sick. Right? That would be very cool there. So whatever questions you have about Kindle publishing, make sure you bring them right now, whichever platform you're watching this on, whether you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you may be watching. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Now, before we jump into this, Mike, one of the things that we like to do at Kindle Cashflow is we like to serve our community. And one of the ways that we do that is we reward people who go in and engage, whether they're liking, sharing, commenting. And we're always giving away cool prizes. So we've got some Apple Watches here that we randomly give away, some Apple AirPods, things like this that we randomly give away, a MacBook Air that's here. Mike, if I'm not mistaken, didn't you win on one of our Cold Cash and Hot Prizes giveaways, or did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like my first month after joining, I jumped in one of those and I won a MacBook Pro.
Nice. Okay,
yeah.
so you won the big boy then.
Yeah,
very cool.
It's nice. I use it every day.
Very, very cool. All right, awesome. So, Mike, so give us a little background. Who is Michael Lopez, man? Where are you from? What got you started with Kindle publishing, and where you heading?
Yeah, so I'm 28 years old. I just turned 28 a couple weeks ago, actually. And really, what kind of got me into the Kindle cash flow was, I've always kind of looked for a form of passive income. My goal always was kind of getting into real estate. But then kind of just came across, Kindle cash flow, just I believe from a YouTube ad. I'm not sure how, but, the idea of it, having those digital assets out there working for you kind of just, interested me. I looked more into it and decided to join. And it's been great since. Just having those little, like y'all call them digital real estate, pretty much every little book I put out, it's pretty much, bringing me that, which is good, because like now, I started seeing that, I don't want to work as hard for my money because, I'm a full-time job. I'm a firefighter. So we work, 24-hour shifts, and it's some long days. Some nights, I don't really sleep much. So I try to figure out, another way to try to double my income on top of that. And this has been perfect. I'll be at work, not working on the Kindle at all, and still, and see I'm still getting sales pretty much every minute, every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whenever.
Hey, that's got to be interesting, man. So to be able to, congratulations on being a firefighter. You guys really serve the community, so that's huge. But talk about that, because I think you're probably used to the process now, but you just said like you can be at work and you see book sales coming in. Like, what did that feel like when you when that first happened? Like, when you were at work or you were somewhere else and then you started seeing a sale come in? Like, what did that feel like?
It feels good. Like, it's still, I'm still trying to like believe it's even happening, because like I said, I'll just press the refresh button on the Amazon, the KDP page, and I'll see, say I'm at, $50 for the day. I'll refresh and they'll go up to like 52 or 53. Yeah. And, every hour or so when I refresh, it's just, steady jumping from 50 to 60 to 100. And it feels good knowing that, like, I may wake up in the morning, some mornings when I'm off, and put in, a couple hours, writing my ghostwriters, telling them some things. But I really at the beginning, I was putting in longer days. But now, really, the most I need to do to maintain it, keep it running, everything smooth, is maybe an hour or so, and a steady passive income's coming in daily.
Nice, nice. So when you first started, what did that journey look like as far as getting to a point where you're actually putting in the work? Because I think what happens is sometimes we'll buy courses and we think that the course is going to do the work, right? We think that we don't have to do much, or we're kind of disillusioned by that. So what did it take for you to jump into it and actually say, hey, I'm going to be disciplined enough to do the work?
So the big thing for me was, my big thing is just repetition, and just kind of, even if I don't have it perfected, just doing it. So that was one of my big things. I went through the whole Kindle cash flow system, probably each video like maybe 3 times, but I was putting in, longer days. I was waking up early and watching the videos, and then just applying those pretty much as soon as I got, the Kindle cash flow. I was already planning a week, 2 weeks after that, trying to, get it going, because it does take some steps before you can actually put your first book out there. So I wanted to just, streamline it and get it going as quick as possible. So I think just going through those every day, multiple times, helped a lot.
So I think that's smart, man. So you would go through the videos, like, so you're watching video 1 and then you would watch it again before you move on to video 2, or do you watch video 2, then go back and watch video 1 again?
So I watched like all the way through,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much just taking notes, and then I went back through and watched again. And as I was watching each one, I pretty much paused that video in the middle or at the end, and then just do whatever that video was about and go apply it.
So you're an immediate action taker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would go in. Were you finding, like, so sometimes if I'm watching a video, like, because I kind of do the same thing, I'll go through a training program, and for me it's more about retention. I personally have retention issues, right? So I'll have to go back and I'll watch it and then watch it again, and it's like every time I watch it, I'm seeing something for the second time, but I didn't notice the first time. Is it the same like that for you, or do you?
Yeah, it is. Especially when I still go through them now. Like when there's certain things that, like if I'm looking for some ads, I'll go through some of those videos and I'll actually catch things that I missed even after going through it 3 times, and then I'll apply those instantly.
Okay. All right. So you go. Oh, go ahead.
No, so I'll say, so it's always, those videos are, as far as like learning and applying, but then always going back and, going through what you might have missed, because there's always something to learn from each time you go through it.
You see something different. Yeah, I think so. It's like watching a television show, right? Or a movie the second time or the third time. Even if it's your favorite movie, you'll always see something that stands out. So you got started with Kindle Cashflow through an ad that you saw. You jumped in. Was this your first program of this type that you've ever got involved with, or have you been part of another program or other programs in the past?
I've been part of a couple. I didn't really was too much. I think I got those, and they kind of just sat there for a while, and then halfway went through those. But this one, it was more so me seeing the real value in, because I value my time. So if I can, by not having to long hours for it, that's like a huge benefit for me. So I can have, that time for spending time with my friends, family, or whoever.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big jump immediately with this one.
Very cool.
And seeing that, the books are gonna, I put out a book. So let's just say I put out a book today, 5 years from now, that book's still gonna be, making me money down the road. So I saw the long-term effects of it.
Yeah, dude, I have books that I published 12 or 13 years ago that are still making me money. And the most interesting thing about that is, even when I see those sales coming in, it's like, it's unbelievable still. Like 12 or 13 years later, it's still like, are you kidding me? So that's the interesting part about it right there. So what does your family think about like Kindle publishing? Do they even know what you're doing, or?
Yeah, my brothers, I have two brothers. They know what I'm doing. My other brother's trying to actually get going on it. Now he sees I'm starting to have some success. He's starting to look, into it and start doing that. Yeah, my mom, like, she likes what I'm doing, but she just doesn't understand anything about it. But like, she's she's happy that I'm doing it. It's working. So it's been good.
Very good. You got to invite your brother into the community if he's not already in there. Both your brothers. You said you have two brothers. Bring them into the community. Add them to the course, man. Add them to the fast pass. I think they'll get a lot of value out of that. So that's on us. So definitely do that. So now you're in the program. You're saying this recurring income that's coming in. You say, do you have kids, Mike?
No, I don't.
Okay. So I'm wondering, like, and I always ask people if they have kids, because at what point do you start to introduce your children to the concept of having passive recurring income that comes in? I think it's something that a lot of us need to learn at a much earlier age. I think if I would have learned this stuff, like, imagine learning it at 15 or, at 18 or 20, right? How it just changes your perspective on just being able to trade time for dollars there. It's a totally different way of looking at life. So for the person that is watching this and they know that there's something to it, but they might be on the fence, like, how long did it take before you saw the ad and you actually pulled the trigger? Was it a couple of hours, couple of days? Did you have to think about it? Did you have to get over a belief, a mindset?
From the time I saw the video, pulled the trigger, I think it was about maybe a week or less than a week. It didn't take long. Just seeing that value in it, I couldn't pass on it too long.
Very cool, very cool. So we got a comment here from Facebook. They say, congratulations, Michael, from a fellow emergency services veteran. Did you stay in the same genre, or after you were successful in one genre, did you expand to another? So that's a good question. Did you start off in one genre and then after seeing some success, you moved on to another, or how does that work out for you?
No, I've stuck with the same since the first book.
Okay.
I'm in the romance genre.
You're in romance, right?
Yeah, cool. So I've stuck through there all the way throughout.
All right. What was it? I don't see you, big firefighter, manly guy. I don't see you as someone who's publishing romance, right? Traditionally saying, hey, I want to go into romance. And the reason why I'm saying that is my son, Tyler, he also publishes to romance. He's this big 17-year-old football player, and he does pretty well with romance. But Mike, none of his friends know that he publishes romance books. He's got a couple of friends downstairs actually right now, all football players on the team. What made you jump into romance?
So I went into it with an open mind. I was open to pretty much anything. At first, I did want to start in, sort of like the sci-fi mystery. But then I think it all came down to the course, really. I went in with an open mind of, I'm going to just, follow the course on the videos, the market research videos, and kind of just wherever that leads me, that's where I see the best opening. That's where I'm going to jump into. And that's what I did. I found a good little niche and jumped in there and trying to, take over that niche now.
And trying to take over the globe with it. That takes a special person, man, to be able to say, okay, I'm going to follow along without letting ego get involved and do my own thing. Right. So it's no wonder that you're successful. And speaking of which, guys, so Michael is at the point where he's almost at 10,000. So at KCF Live, which is coming up soon, we're going to be presenting Mike with a plaque here, if I can get this thing on camera. So he has actually reached gold status. So he's going to be getting one of these. We're going to be presenting this to you, Mike. This is not your plaque here. This is Michael Joshua's actually, but we're going to be presenting one just like this to you on KCF Live, man. So I can't wait to see you. Oh, I think you will have yours before KCF Live takes place. So I can't wait to see you unbox that bad boy, man. Shoot a video for us. We can share it in the community, and just to see the look on your face, And then after that, so guys, this is for those of you that get to the $10,000 a month level, as Michael is almost at right now. By the time KCF Live kicks around, he'll definitely be past that number. And then this is your next goalpost, Mike. So it's consistently going after where the goal has been moved to. So this is the $20,000 a month plaque here. So I think we'll order one of these in advance for you, man, because I know that you'll definitely be on your way there. So
I got that on my vision board right now for next month.
very cool, very cool. I love it. So let's talk about that. So mindset, right? So I can tell that you're an individual that believes in mindset, personal development to some degree, because I think you can't hit a goal without being aware of who you are and wanting to become someone different in order to get to the goals that you're after. What is your personal development process like? You just mentioned having a vision board. Do you set goals or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. I set goals. I set goals daily. I wouldn't say daily goals. I'll say more daily to-do tasks, things I need to do. I write those each night before I go to sleep. And then weekly goals, monthly goals. Part of it for me, I feel like it's been a big part of my success. I wake up early every 4:30, 5 o'clock. I do some like meditation early on, a couple minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then, I get an early workout in, as I'm listening to, Audible and self-development books and things like that. Just to try to, get my mind ready for the day and clear my mind and focus on my goals and what I need to do for the day. And that's been doing that for a little bit now. And it's been working and paying off, putting my mind at ease every morning, focusing on what matters the most instead of focusing on the little problems and always trying to find, the solutions whenever problems and small roadblocks come up.
Yeah, that's very smart. Jim Rohn says, don't major in minor things, right? So it seems like that's something that you've mastered there. Man, do you feel like, I know for myself, so that's kind of my morning ritual too. So I'll get up, I'll meditate for 10 minutes. I'm working on getting to 15, 20 minutes, right? But 10 minutes is my sweet spot. I'll do the audios. I'll listen to something on Audible or YouTube, right? And then work out. And I'm listening to something while I'm working out. The days when I'm consistent in doing that, man, it just like sets my morning on fire. Do you find like the same thing?
Yeah, I do. And it's like I said, that's been huge to me. It's been a big part. Like, it's a certain type of thing. Like, it's like that. It's kind of like going to the gym. Some days you don't want to go to the gym, but those days you don't want to go and then you go and then you leave the gym, you always feel good after.
Yeah.
Kind of like that feeling throughout the day, And I kind of like, there's always been something about being up early when it's still dark and getting things done while everyone's sleeping. I don't know. It kind of brings a sense of peace and calmness to me doing that every morning as well.
Yeah. I think, for me, if I have a sense of having an advantage, because I'm like, man, so I got like an hour or 2 hour or 3 hour lead, right, over the next guy or gal. So there's definitely something empowering about that. Awesome. So we got Wayne Gill, who says, hey, Michael, how many books did it take to get to where you are now? And that's coming from Wayne Gill. And he says, congrats on achieving gold status.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know the exact number, around like 25. 25, 26, somewhere around that number.
Very cool. And I think the important thing about that, right, it's a numbers game, because you're going to have, it's going to be different for everyone, right? So you can't say, hey, if you get to 25 books, you're going to have the same level of success that Michael is having, right? So it may take less, it may take more, right? Yeah. Everyone's totally different. The genres matter. The belief is huge, big. The expectations are big. The amount of work that you put into it is big. You just laying out your plans is huge. The amount of research. So there's so many different factors that one guy may have over the other, or one gal may have over the other. So a lot. So someone else says congratulations on the 10K, Michael. So lots of folks here congratulating. So folks, go ahead, post in the comments box, whether you're watching on YouTube or in the Facebook group. or on the Facebook page. What questions do you have for Michael while we have him here? And Mike, I'm going to ask you another question. So really quickly. So now, what's next for you? Like, what are your, well, before we get to that, what's your process like? So let's say you're going in, you're thinking about publishing a book, right? You're going into your next book. What does that look like from start to finish? How do you know what you should get into?
So the way my process is, I'll go on Amazon and I'll try to find, books that are in my niche that are like bestsellers, probably bestsellers within, the 1 to 2,000 to 3,000 range. And I have a couple of ghostwriters that I use. So I don't write any of my books. I outsource my graphic design, my covers, and I outsource the editing on that also. But I'll find books that are best selling, and then I'll kind of, send those books over to my ghostwriters and tell them like, this is the type of story I'm looking for. But obviously not, no plagiarism, no copying it, but just so they can get some ideas and inspiration from that story and kind of like what works in my genre. And I think once you work with the ghostwriter for a little bit of time, they kind of start seeing after a couple of books what kind of style you're going for.
Yeah.
And I think over time, when you can even like just start coming kind of with your own plot lines and things like that. If you have a
So they start to know your style and your format and what works for you. So that's super smart. So I know that there's people who may be watching right now and they're wondering like, what size are your books typically? Like, what do you see? What's that sweet spot for you?
Usually around 10K. Most of my books are 10K.
So 10,000 words.
Yeah, some are a little longer. Some are 15K, but majority of them are about 10K.
Very cool. So because that and the reason why I asked you that is because oftentimes people will think, well, they're looking at other books that are on Amazon, and sometimes they're doing research and they're looking at paperback books that might be 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages, and they're wondering, is that going to work? So if I go in and I do the research, I model a book that might be 150 pages, and then I come over here with a book that's 10K, 15K, how's that going to work out? But it works out, right? Have you ever had that fear of thinking that your books are not long enough?
Yeah, I did. Especially at the beginning, when putting that first series out. And I know Marty, just from watching videos, Marty and Josh always talk about your first series is always going to be your worst one, which would happen to me. And my first series actually had, pretty decent success. But that's exactly what I did with that one. I found a longer book. I believe it was like 300 plus pages. And I actually had my ghostwriter kind of break that down into, a shorter series of 5 books at about 10K each. 10K worth.
Super smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, super smart. So you had this huge book and you broke it down.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you end up paying for that big book to have that written?
Like, are you talking about like book for book? I paid about 100 for each book. So in total, it was 5 books. So I paid about 500.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Perfect. Man, you're really getting your books at a decent price. $100 each. Are you using the same ghostwriter? So you go in, you get a ghostwriter, you lock in, you keep that person consistently. Do you give them like how do you keep someone writing at $100 per book? Do you give bonuses? Is it that you're giving them consistent work? Or what is it that gets that person to stay with you?
So I'm doing both. Pretty much as soon as they finish a series with me, I already have, the series outlined for the next one.
Gotcha.
So pretty much like a week after, they're already writing another series. And I also give them a pretty good sized tip at that last book because, it pays to, treat the people right, that are working for you. And like, I communicate real good with them and they kind of understand the process on how everything goes now. And they know they're going to get long-term work with me. And the way I do it is I have 2 writers. So I always have 2 series writing going at the same time. So I can keep publishing pretty much at a rapid rate every week, every 2 weeks. I'm pretty much putting out another book.
That is super smart, man. So you have 2 series going at any one time, which I think is smart in so many different ways. You always have content coming in, but then also if a writer goes down, right, they get sick or whatever, life takes over, then you're not stuck in limbo. You still have something else that's out there, content being created. Very cool. So we just got another question. And bonuses are big, man. Everyone likes to be rewarded, right, for their effort. So just being able to say, hey, here's a bonus for the great effort that you've put in, or for turning in another masterpiece and just being recognized for that. I think that's super smart. We've got another question that says, sorry if I missed the answer to this question. Michael, do you write your own book or are they ghostwritten? So he actually just talked about that. So he hires ghostwriters. What platform are you using, Mike?
I use Upwork for the ghostwriters.
Got it. Okay, so Upwork.com. Have you ever tried any other platforms, like, or is Upwork like your first and you're staying there?
I've used Guru also, and I do have a writer on Guru. She's pretty much like one of my backup writers in case something ever happens to one of my main two writers. But I've used her before, and she has some really good, solid work also.
Got it. Does she know she's the backup writer?
I'm not sure.
All right. So, here's another question. So this one comes from Wayne Gill. What has been your biggest challenge in the process so far? That's a great question, Wayne. What's been your biggest challenge in the process so far?
I would say probably finding the right ghostwriters at the beginning. It took me some trial and error to find the ones that I really liked. I think I went through maybe 5 to 6 ghostwriters. And I had my editor read each story from the writers and kind of give me her opinion on that as well. So I got an idea and I would read them myself also. I mean, I didn't really know what I was looking for, but
yeah,
felt like I had good enough of an idea if it was a pretty good writer or not, or if it was good quality. So I think in the beginning that was it. But when, once I found the 2 that I like a lot, it's been pretty good from there. Pretty straight line.
Nice. Super. So your process is you're getting your books from your writer and then you pass them over to the editor to read them and then make edits and.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just to see the quality of it. Now I know that it's going to be good quality for them, so I'll send the book over to the editor once it's completely finished, and they'll go do their thing with it.
Got it. All right. So we got some great questions that are coming in here. So this is from Julius. How do you make sure the ghostwriter isn't copying anything? Like, how do you make sure that they're giving you just authentic material, right? That's yours.
So there's one website, I believe it's called Copyscape. But I would just take random parts of the book and I'll copy and paste it into there, and it'll tell you, if something's out that has those those exact words and everything, it'll show it. And I'll also copy and paste it into like Google and just other different search engines, and just that's how I do it. Just try to see, but I haven't found anything or any plagiarism from any of my writers. I haven't had to deal with that.
Yeah, I think that's one of those natural fears that come up as well. 2 things that come up are, number one, how do you know if your ghostwriter is giving you authentic, original content? And then number 2, why wouldn't they take the content they're writing and then publish it themselves on Amazon? So I see that question come up a lot, which is very cool. So here's another great question. Congratulations, Mike. How are you determining the price that you set for your books? Are you getting this straight out of a Kindle Cashflow course, or are you deviating a little bit? What are you doing there?
I'm getting it straight out of the course pretty much. I use what's called like the anchor strategy pretty much. So I'll, those first 3 books, I'll have 99 cents. And then the last 2, I'll finish those out with $2.99. Just so you can get, and I do that mainly just for the exposure, trying to, get into the algorithm, trying to get into a good rank. And plus for like, I would say probably about 70% of my readers are Kindle Unlimited users. So for them to, take a risk on a Kindle Unlimited book isn't really a big deal, because they really don't have nothing to lose. They're getting all these books for free anyway. Yeah. So that's a big part of the pricing strategy at 99 cents for me.
I love it. Okay. Let's see. So with your pricing strategy, you're at $99.99, and then you go to $2.99.
Or yeah, first 3 at $99, and then last 2 at $2.99.
First three at 99, last two at 299. Okay, awesome. What are you doing anything like marketing to your list? Like, have you built up a list yet, like your mailing list?
Yeah, I got a list size of like a little over 4,000.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool, very impressive, awesome. So you're when you get a new book, you release a new book in your series because Mike's publishing series, guys. If you guys didn't catch that, how many books are in your series? Do you have five or
5 books.
five books in each series? So as you go in and are you releasing all five books at once or are you releasing them individually, book one and book two?
Individually, like on a weekly basis, pretty much.
Got it. Okay, nice. And as you release each book, you're shouting it out, you're pushing it to your mailing list and letting them know.
Yeah, I'm pushing it to my mailing list.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I email them pretty often as well.
Very cool. Awesome. So that's another question, Mike. So emailing them often because a roadblock that a lot of people have is kind of being afraid of mailing their list. They don't want people to unsubscribe, right? And my theory is that people are going to unsubscribe regardless of how often you mail them or regardless of what you mail them. So it could be a promotional email or it could be an email filled with content. What's your theory around that and around mailing? Like, how often do you, Michael Lopez, mail your list?
Pretty much email them every day, almost.
Okay.
Usually every morning, sometimes in the evening. You are going to get some people unsubscribing, but you'll get people unsubscribing even if you're emailing every once a week or something like that. And those aren't the people that I want on my list anyway, because I'm on newsletters myself and I get emails every day, but those are things I still read every day and I look forward to reading every day. So people that want to be there will stay there, and the people that don't, well, they'll just unsubscribe and stuff. So they're really doing you a favor.
Yeah, I think it kills you to look at the unsubscribes too. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was like something that I had to get over. Is like don't go in and look at the unsubscribes because then you start to have all of these things that just pop up within. So real quick, Mike, the best times to send emails, and I've done a lot of research on this, is 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. So if you want me to share those with you, I definitely can share them with you. But those
Okay.
times when we see the most opens, most highest click through rates,
Mm-hmm.
right? So very cool. So next question we have is, let's see, this one is coming from Wendell Wilkins. How long ago did you get started?
So I joined the Fast Pass I believe in September 2020.
Gotcha. Okay, so September 2020. And depending on when you're watching or listening to this, that could be, it could depend on when you're watching this, basically, to be honest with you. And if you're wondering what Mike is talking about with the Fast Pass, you can actually go over to kindlecashflow.com/call, CALL, and schedule a call with one of our coaches. Mike is actually a coach now, so you can schedule a call with one of our coaches and they'll help you to lay out a road map to get to a point where you're doing incredibly well with your Kindle publishing business. So kindlecashflow.com/call. All right, so let's see. Next question here is, this one comes from Extend City here. Do you have a publishing company or are you doing self-publishing only, or are you using like a pen name?
So I'm doing self-publishing and then I'll publish under a pen name.
Got it. Cool. All right. I think that's the best way to do it, actually, especially once you start to see like the massive amounts of success that you're having, publishing under a pen name. And then, I always tell people not to share your pen names for the obvious reasons, right? Because there's always going to be, the world is filled with great people, except for like 0.5% that are not so great and that will go in and copy what someone else is doing because they don't want to put in the work to kind of figure out their own system. So that's why pen names are so crucial. Let's see. What else do we have here? We have Donald Sterling. That's not a good one there. That's someone said.
I don't publish in erotic, but I mean, I know some people making some good money doing it. So
yeah, isn't that really? It's definitely interesting. All right. So one of the other ones that we have is up here. This is from Wayne. He says, congratulations on achieving gold status. All right.
Thank you, Wayne.
All right. So let's see. So he actually talked about how do you make sure no one else is copying you. So we actually just covered that one. Here's another question: do you run Amazon ads? So how are you marketing your books outside of your list?
I'm doing Facebook ads mainly. I've kind of dabbled in Amazon ads, but I'm just still learning that. Really, it's still kind of new to me. I messed with it about a month or 2 months ago, so I'm still trying to perfect it a little bit. But Facebook ads since the beginning has been, the go-to marketing system for me.
Got it. Are you optimizing for leads or for purchases when you run your Facebook ads?
So I'm doing both. I run like an ad to build my email list, and then I run an ad for my paid books on Amazon.
Got it. Okay, super smart, smooth. I love it. So congratulations, Michael Lopez. How many books have you published? And he actually talked about that earlier. So go back and watch the video to hear how many books he published. And is most of your income coming from Kindle Unlimited? That's a good question. So is most of your income coming from Kindle Unlimited versus actual book sales?
About 70% from Kindle Unlimited.
Okay. 70%. That's pretty cool. That's good. Lastly, was it Facebook that helped to push for sales?
Yeah, big part of it was Facebook. Finding that right audience on Facebook and kind of targeting them, retargeting them plays a big role in, getting those sales.
Okay. What was that process like when did you have experience in Facebook ads before getting involved with the Kindle Cashflow course?
No, none at all. It was kind of overwhelming, honestly, when I started learning about Facebook, because it's learning about CTR and CPC, click-through rate. I didn't know nothing about any of that.
Yeah.
But it's actually real simple once you start getting in there and breaking it down and just doing it daily.
Very cool. All right. So Mike, I'm going to ask you a question here. I want to put you on the spot. What are you doing differently? What if you had to say, here's what I'm doing differently than everyone else that's publishing on Kindle? What one thing might you be doing differently than anyone else that's publishing on Kindle? And it doesn't have to be something huge. It could be just something like, having a link in your book, or it could be the way you communicate with your list, or the way you hire graphic designers, or anything.
So I think it's two things, actually. One is my email list. I'm real consistent. Like, I'm real big on, not missing a day on sending them an email. So I even, if I have things going on for the next couple of days, I'll write out my emails. I'll write like 3 emails for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just to make sure those go out. And I think another thing is just staying on top of everybody that, my ghostwriter, my book designer, my editor, kind of just staying on top of everything there. And, because I already have covers done for like my next 4 series.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
For your next 4 series?
Yeah.
Dude, you're not playing, man. I love that.
Yeah, me and my graphic designer, built up a good relationship also. So I think that's a big part of it also, kind of just, treating people the way you want to be treated as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, staying ahead. I'm looking for the long term. My goal is to always keep publishing consistently every week. So I don't want, my ghostwriter, to come down with a cold and miss a week writing, and that puts me behind, puts the whole business behind. So like, just, staying, and things like that always come up. I mean, seems like it's always a cold or something always comes up. But if you're months ahead, then it doesn't really affect you.
Yeah, it doesn't. You're not skipping a beat, right? So yeah. I think that's genius. And anyone that's listening, just being able to prepare for the inevitable, right? So people are going to get sick, or if your writer has a kid or something, right, they may get sick, or someone may unfortunately pass, or something might happen, right, where they're going to have these lags in productivity. So just being able to prepare. Like, this is what I mean, like making your goal to beat Michael Lopez. Sometimes it has to be something as simple as that. Like being competitive. He just said that he has freaking his covers created for the next 4 series. Like I've never heard that on an interview before. So just positioning yourself to say, okay, well, Mike has his covers for the next 4 series. I'm going to get my covers for the next 5 series. Because what's going to happen is once you have those covers, the next process starts, right? You have to fulfill the next process, and that is getting the content to fit those covers. So I think that's an amazing nugget right there, Mike. Let's see. This is an interesting question here. This is coming from Larry. Larry Heron says, was it a surprise for you to see the kinds of writing that you wouldn't yourself buy, but that other people love to buy?
Yeah, it was a surprise. When I jumped in, I honestly didn't know if, it would work or not. I kind of just found the market, and I was going to put my books out there and see if it worked. But yeah, I was really surprised. And now that, I'm seeing my books are getting, downloads every day, getting page reads every day, it kind of helps me target in on which audience my books are for, like which age range, which gender and things like that. And then all that can work for Facebook ads as well. You can really get specific. But yeah, I was really surprised in seeing them, buying that thing that quick and all the page reads that I'm getting.
Yeah. And you get some great data, right? So you're able to see, well, I guess for the most part, especially depending on the genre that you're in, because I just interviewed someone the other day who has 15 books on public speaking, right? Mm-hmm. He says that his audience is primarily males. So I would imagine that your audience may be primarily women. There's probably a sprinkling of men that's in there too. So now you can use that to your advantage to go in and craft your ads in a different way and even speak to your audience in a different way in your ads. So great question there, Larry. Very good question. Right. So Michael, in closing, for anyone that may be on the fence about Kindle publishing, that think it may be a little bit too complicated, that might be in disbelief, what words of advice do you have for them?
I would say try not to overthink it. If you're on the edge of doing it and you really want to do it, but you're still not sure, I would say just, dive in and do it, because, once you get in there, you're going to get access to the course, and the course is, from A to Z, like from beginning to end, step by step, video by video. And, it's all in video. So you can pretty much follow each step as it's going. You can pause the video. You can go in and take action on there. You can repause it. And that's basically what I did. If there's something that you may feel that's like overwhelming, like Facebook ads, if that's kind of what's holding you back, there's a whole section in there for that as well. That will teach you. And there's probably over like 20 hours of content in just that part alone. That'll teach you from not knowing nothing on, Facebook ads, marketing, email lists, to getting ahead and knowing, pretty much being a pro in that area. So I would say, yeah, just don't think about it too much. Just jump in. These are little digital books that are going to make you money, forever. Like my first book I put out is still making me money. Not as much as my newer books, but, every day that first series is still making me, around like $40 to $50 a day.
Very cool, man. That's very impressive right there. And when you think about it, again, Mike is very humble in his responses there. He's like, it's still making me $40 or $50 a day, which like that's gas money, right? That's a very nice lunch, right? Half of that. But I think what's even deeper than that is just seeing that you have this passive income that's coming in on a regular basis, guys. So there you go. If you have not registered for Kindle Cashflow Live yet, our virtual seminar, go to kcflive.com. You can actually go in and get a free ticket. If you liked what we shared on this video, if you want to hear more from Mike, definitely go in and comment more Michael Lopez in the comment section below. And once you go in and you join the community, our Facebook community, you'll see Michael in there. And we just have a very phenomenal group of people from all walks of life, from just like over 125 different countries that really work to help one another out. So, Mike, I think the community is big, and I appreciate you, man, for helping to make the community what it is. So definitely love having you as part of our family here at Kindle Cashflow. So with that said, keep trucking, man. We'll get that plaque out to you. I can't wait to see you open it up, and can't wait to have you share it at KCF Live. That's coming up pretty soon.
Sounds good, man. Thank you for having me, Ty.
All right, absolutely. Have a good night.
You too.